Could the Oregon Ducks flip a major quarterback in the 2027 class? This is the Oregon Football Report. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we are going to discuss that on today's video. Dan Lanning and his staff continue to go after one of the top recruits in the 2027 QB class, despite the fact that he's already committed to another school. Who is that quarterback? Well, that quarterback is named Trent Seaborn, and Seaborn is already playing his high school football in the state of Alabama. He committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide, but that has not stopped the Oregon Ducks from at least continuing to further along their relationship. Now, of course, this is something that is really smart by the Oregon football team. How often have we seen a high schooler come out and say, hey, I am committed to this school, and then they end up going somewhere else? I mean, I think I told 3 or 4 different girls in high school that I was going to marry them, and guess what? I don't have a ring on my finger. That's just a way of saying that high schoolers are stupid. So it might take Seaborn some time before he really gets down to the nitty-gritty. Just because he's committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide does not mean that he will officially end up over there. So it is smart for Oregon to continue this relationship, as well as if he does end up going to Alabama and he doesn't play right away, there's a chance that he enters into the transfer portal and the Oregon Ducks could step in and go and grab him. He had some words to tell on 3, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. But before we do, make sure that you turn on your notifications for the Oregon Football Report. If you ring that NOTI bell, you will be updated every single time that we release a video. Right now, we have a small but very, very proud NOTI gang. Make sure that you jump in there and join that yourself, because the latest rumors, news, any kind of thing like that, you don't want to miss. You will make sure that you don't miss it by hitting that NOTI bell. All right, so back to what's going on with Trent Seaborn, excuse me. And when we're talking about him, of course, we have to talk about the relationship that he has developed with quarterback coach Koa Ka'ai, and he's making quite the impression, is Ka'ai. Right now, he's done a fantastic job of just building a friendly relationship with Seaborn, and Seaborn really goes into detail on that here in this quote. This, of course, was told to On3 and On3's Scoop Duck. Me and Coach Koa are really close. The Hawaii connection helped at the beginning, but it's bigger than that now. We talk football, leadership, life, everything. He's someone I trust and someone who's been very consistent with me and my family. Relationships are always going to be very key when it comes to recruiting, especially with high school level kids. This is a big step for them, and they have to go and do something that they've never done before. For a lot of these guys, it's the first time that you're really leaving your family. So what Oregon has done a great job of is creating and fostering an environment and multiple relationships where it's about the player and him enjoying the university, but more so him enjoying the coaching staff that is going to be in charge of him, right? So I think this is a great job here by Ka'ai. And coming in and making sure that he helps foster a relationship that doesn't feel like it's solely based on football or solely based on a player performing at the highest level. I don't think that just comes from the quarterback coach, though, with the Ducks. I do believe that comes from the top down, and that, of course, is with Dan Lanning. Trent Seaborn had this to say on that relationship. It also meant a lot that Coach Lanning and Coach Koa made the trip to see me recently. And another coach came out earlier in the season, too. That shows the level of interest they have. There's a real relationship there, not just recruiting. Can't emphasize that anymore. It is about creating relationships. It's about making a kid feel wanted. It's about making a kid believe that if things don't work out at Alabama, he can always come back to the University of Oregon. How often have we seen different universities go out and end up signing a quarterback that's higher than the quarterback that they have right now? Seaborn is the number 15 quarterback in the country. What if the number 14 quarterback decides to commit to the University of Alabama? Well, the Oregon Ducks would be in the prime position to go and flip Seaborn and still be a major player in getting him down to the University of Oregon. And obviously, the same thing can be said about the Ducks with a lot of their other quarterbacks that they are recruiting as well. Make sure that you go down below in the comment section and have your voice heard. Are the Ducks going to be able to flip Trent Seaborn? Let me know yes or no your opinion. I think that the fact that they're still in play right here lets all of us know that the Ducks do have a good shot at potentially getting Seaborn. He's saying a lot of really good things about the Oregon football program, but it is still clear that he definitely, and I do mean definitely, has a strong tie to the University of Alabama. When Seaborn was talking about the University of Alabama, he's basically come out and said they are his dream school. He's always wanted to play for the Crimson Tide. He wants to stay in Alabama, already playing high school football there. A decent amount of his family is close to him, and they could help go to his games, go to his events, and things like that. Here's what Seaborn had to say on the University of Alabama. Alabama has always been my dream school. Growing up in this state, representing Alabama and playing for the Crimson Tide in my home state has always meant something special to me. The culture, the standard, and the way they develop players and leaders really stood out. It was a decision I prayed about and thought through carefully. I didn't take it lightly. I'm very solid in that commitment, and I'm excited about my future there. Seaborn is going to be very hard to flip from the University of Alabama when you have a guy who already lives in the state, who has grown up watching, rooting for Alabama football, who has shown that and said really that he wants to stay close to his family. It's going to be hard for the University of Oregon to get him to go basically all the way across the country to Eugene. That doesn't mean that the Ducks should let him just go. When I look at the stat line for Trent Seaborn, it's very impressive in a state that clearly values high school football. Over 70% completion, almost 3,700 yards, way more touchdowns than interceptions, and you can see by the picture there that he's not afraid to move around. While Seaborn is going to be hard to flip, that doesn't mean that Alabama doesn't have their hands trying to get other quarterbacks in. So to me, I don't think that you should be shocked if Seaborn ends up being a Duck. We have seen Dan Lanning multiple times since he's taken over as the head coach of the Oregon Ducks continue to flip players despite them being committed elsewhere. We've also seen Dan Lanning do a fantastic job of not just getting one player to flip, but also getting a multitude of players to flip and commit to the University of Oregon in the same position room. We've seen the Ducks bring in multiple quarterbacks in one class. I think there is an option here for them and for Dan Lanning to convince a guy like Seaborn and say, hey, you can come in, you can be a big-time player for us, and if you beat out this other guy, that means that you will be a quarterback and a starting quarterback at the University of Oregon quickly. There's one other thing that I want to make sure that I touch on as well. The Ducks have done a great job, too, of basically cycling through quarterbacks in 1 to 2 years. Think about it. Bo Nix, he's there at Oregon for 2. Then it's the next guy, Dylan Gabriel. Then after Gabriel, it's right into Dante Moore. After Dante Moore, it does seem like it'll be Raiola, but there's no guarantee. But Raiola would be gone very quickly. So there is something to be said about the Ducks bringing in a high school recruit and saying, hey, you're going to have an opportunity to compete every single year for the starting job, because if we grab a guy in the transfer portal, they're only going to be there for 1 to 2 years maximum. I do think that's a very important recruiting tactic. How many quarterbacks will the Ducks sign in the 2027 class? To me, I do feel like the Ducks have a decent shot at getting multiple, especially since this last class, you saw a multitude of Ducks leave in the transfer portal cycle. You saw the quarterback that the Ducks brought in the 2026 class end up leaving already, going somewhere else. So don't be shocked if the Oregon Ducks end up bringing in a couple of high school recruits in this class, just like they did in the 2025 class. Let me know your opinion, though, down below in the comment section. Don't miss any Oregon Football Report videos. I told you to turn on your notifications. I'm giving you one more opportunity to make sure that you do that, because if you turn on those noties, you'll never miss anything that's going on with the Oregon football team, because we're reporting it to you right away. Make sure that you hit that sub button as well. We're growing. It's small. It's the few, but we are very proud and very excited to call the Oregon Football Report a family. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, and we're growing every single day. So join in, hit that sub button. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and Sko Ducks!